Generic greetings! In the previous episode, we planned out the Update 6 prison, as you can see. It's a little bit different from any of the other prisons I've made. I guess they're all a bit different. They're all designed to be slightly different from one another. However, this one, as far as I can recall, is the first prison with the chamfered or beveled edges, and then a weird compound in the centre, which is actually a bit of a security flaw because it's going to be all where the valuable staff are. So that's an interesting one, but a different design nonetheless, and something that I think we should be okay if the prisoners are knocking down these two gates and then got inside here where the armory is. It's pretty much game over anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. There's been a couple of changes to the design since the last episode based on your feedback. We went with this design here. This is the visitation. The prisoners will come along this area here and then go in that door and then come down, and then they can actually wander in here and do the visitation stuff. This is, I believe, even. In fact, I didn't check it. Let's check it. Yes, it is even, so it's 12, so we should be able to get in a total of 6 visitation tables either side. We've got 2 of them, as you can see, and because of that, we've had to split up these other areas as well. I needed a holding cell, or I wanted a holding cell. I don't need one. I wanted a holding cell, and I wanted a cleaning cupboard. Now, that's what I've got here. Cleaning cupboard there and cleaning cupboard there, and then one of these rooms will become laundry, and one of them will be a holding cell. I'm not sure which one is going to be which just yet, and obviously we need to put doors there. We could also have one as the mail room, because bear in mind that the mail room has to really be closer to the entrance, because that's where a lot of mail comes in, whereas the clothes for the laundry only come in once, so I might move the mail room to over there. As people have pointed out, this big row down the back here is not ideal because a lot of the stuff that comes in, like books and such, has to come through the entire prison. That is correct, and, you know, in reality, we should have really put this side, but difference. We'll just move them over there. I don't think it's going to cause a massive logistical problem, but we'll see. Also, because the psychologist is going to be in one of these 6 rooms, it's going to be a little bit of an issue because one of them is going to have to be not staff only, because I wanted all the staff only, which means the best solution for that problem is to probably open a door there, so they sort of come in there and then go around. But then the whole thing isn't staff only, so it might be an issue, which means we might move it over to here and then change something there, but we'll get to that in later episodes. So let's crack on with the building. I won't be getting prisoners for the next couple of episodes, but we should be able to get a bit of building done. So I'm going to go to a building, I think concrete. I think we're going to use concrete for no other reason that other than I can. I do want concrete. I mean, this is a compound type thing. Does it make sense using compound or brick? I think we'll stick with brick. We'll go old school, and then we'll clicky clicky draggy, and there we go. Obviously, I do need to do a couple of things. I need to unpause it first, and then I need to go to objects, and then to large jail door, rotate that around and shove a couple of doors in here. Actually, I'll just shove one in for now, because then that will be building there, and we can put them on the other side. I don't want to waste too much money. Let's just go, speaking of money, to our reports, and then to grants, and then we want basic detention centre grant, we want administration centre grant, and that's all we can get at the moment. Obviously, we want to close that, and eventually we will open bureaucracy after we've got a warden, and then we can crack on with that. We've got a total number of workers of, let's have a quick look-saroo. No intake because I closed that last time. Go to staff. We've got 8 workers, which is probably enough for me to really crack on with this building. I don't really want to hire much more and end up firing them later on and that sort of thing. Looks like the driver is helping unpack, as you can see. There you go. The driver now will help unpack. He won't just do it all, though. You can see he like sort of stands around a little bit and then he actually goes, oh, God damn it, these workers are too busy building things, and then he unpacks it himself. There we are. Right, so these are putting in all of the framework and such. There's a new sort of mode that you can, or a new thing you can do. You can hold control and then click and drag, and whatever you select, it will designate that as a priority. You can see all of that's now being designated as a priority. So if these workers were elsewhere doing something, you can say priority, and then they'll come along and actually do that and fill it all and like make it a priority. I guess it's sort of self-explanatory, really. They'll come along and they'll fix it for you. And you know, if there's other things to be built, like putting turf, like for example, if the wall breaks and they were laying turf, you could prioritize the wall, and then it means that they will go, actually, we should probably stop laying turf and go and sort that wall out, which is good. Anyway, what we need to do is shove in some offices. So I'm going to make a couple of offices up here. Now, I'm going to make 3 of them in one go because I think it's I think it doesn't really matter much, you know, what we put in. But I think we'll put 3 of them in. Obviously, we don't have any power over here. The only power is going to be there and there. By the way, I also have a spare room in this area here. You can see this is storage, but this has just got no purpose whatsoever yet. I just had a little bit of a spare space here. I try to extend these down But in order to do that, you would have to have a little bit more gappage than I have. So it'd be 2 there and then 2 there, which means wall and wall, you can't fit it in. So that's why I haven't bothered doing that. So we've got an extra spare room here. This could be for anything we want, really. We could have a little storage, could have a little security room, whatever we want. So anyway, this is pretty much sorted. Let's just go to our rooms and then to office. There we go. And then we'll clicky, draggy. There's that sorted. And then what I'm going to do is put 3 filing cabinets in. You can notice I haven't designated the other areas. That's because if I do that, it means that the warden might go to one of these ones that's not actually complete. So those, the 3 offices done, but not designated just yet. Because if I go to staff and then to warden and hire the warden, there we go. That's periwinkle. It's going to say requires an office, and they're going to go over there, which is useful. What I'll also do while I'm here is go to materials and then a fence, and then what I want to do is run a fence pretty much all the way around from, I think, this point here. You notice what I've got is a entrance in this part here, so they can get access to this entire fence if they need to. Now, fences are not free. They haven't been free for quite some time, but at least they are quite cheap still. This eventually may be a perimeter wall. I say maybe because I would like a perimeter wall, but my experience tells me that it's really, really expensive, and in reality we'll probably finish the series before we get enough money to really put that in. But we have a problem with escapes, or we should have a problem with escapes, because if I put a toilet here, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4 to dig out, and only one of them will be underground. So we do really need a perimeter wall. This is one of the reasons why Periwinkle is going to be quite useful. It's because he can dig. His dogs, I think, search and can see people digging a lot faster, so they have a 50% higher chance of discovering things. Let me just pause it for a second, go to bureaucracy, and we want to unlock finance. There we go, and then we'll close that down and just let them crack on. I want to unlock finance so I can get myself another grant. Currently, our grant is basic detention centre and administration centre. So build 2 offices, unlock finance through bureaucracy, and hire an accountant. So most of this is done. We just need to go to rooms in an office once more. And then right next to the warden, we can see that is now an office. That's fine. I'm not going to designate the next one because I want to have that. I want them in a particular order, which I haven't actually thought about the order just yet. But, you know, I do want them in one order. There's a couple of other things that I wanted to mention. People have pointed out that these cell blocks here, these solitary cells are too big, and yes, they are too big, but if I put them one by one, they won't actually fit in all that well. Also, people point out that we should really make them bigger. It's weird because some people say they're bigger, some people say they're too big, some people say they're too small. Either way, that's the way they're going to stay. One entrance, and then they're not going to have a bed or anything like that. No amenities other than being under a roof. We are going to have these as a building. I'm not just going to fence them off because, as I said in the previous episode, seasons are in, which means people can die of exposure. You can see it's 0 degrees. Quite cold here because I guess it's... What season is it? It is currently spring, so quite cold. Anyway, let's just pause it for 1 second here while I go to the accountant and hire one accountant. There we go, and that's the basic detention centre grant done. And then we can go to bureaucracy, and we want to unlock ourselves an extra grant. And we might get bank loan at some point, but actually it's only 500, so we might well go for that. We do need, I think, psychology. We'll go for that first, and then health. The reason I'm doing that is because my next grant will almost certainly be the... actually, no, we'll go for short-term investment. It's always a useful thing to go for short-term and long-term investments. It takes a while, but gives you some money at the end of it. We do need to go for health and well-being, which is why I've done a bit of research there in that area. So we need a holding cell, shower, a yard, kitchen, canteen, things like that. So what I'm going to do, in order to get these done, 2 cooks, 2 guards, canteen, kitchen, yard, shower, holding cell. Most of that is actually the centre bit here. So let's just go to foundations and building brick. And then what I want to do is build this entire lump here. And that should do it for now. 16 grand there, so it's a lot of money. But it is a lot of building. So that's fine. We'll go to staff door, and we'll put a staff door there. And then, what else do I want to do? There's a bit of a weird bit here. See this here? This entire row doesn't currently have any purpose why it's that length. I could, if I wanted to, make the shower one wider, but would that be reasonable to do? It means then there's just a 1 corridor running all the way along, which I'm not a big fan of. if I wanted to, I could extend the canteen up by 2 to this end, and then have access to the cleaning cupboard and the visitation through that. But then it means you're having to always go through the yard, which I'm sorry, the canteen, which I'm not a big fan of. So I think I'll probably leave that. There we go. There's that all done. This is the center building for our kitchen and canteen. Let me just shove in the walls like so, and that should be that pretty much sorted. So we'll go to rooms, and then we're going to go to kitchen, and we need to designate all of this as kitchen up to, I think, about there. And that didn't really designate it properly. There's a bit of a weird glitch there. Designate that up to about there. Alright. And then we need to go to canteen and then do the same thing, but it's all the way around here. And obviously I do need some sort of entranceway so you can get in and out. Let's just put that there. Then brick wall so they can get in and out this thing, because that is useful. Right. So over to, I think, sinks. I think the sink, yes I do, and then the cooker, and then the fridge. There we go. There's that one building sort of done. Well, there's that building registered as done. These are only these things here are the serving tables, and they're still only 20 quid. So I think I'm gonna shove them in for that amount of money. Tables and chairs as well. We'll also put in. We're only gonna put one set in because all we're trying to do at the moment is get the grant ticky box done. So there's that. What else do we need to do? Well, we need a couple of things. Obviously, this is out of water, and that shows the slight problem that this is not connected up. And actually, this doesn't even exist. This is where we're going to have our power and water. So we need to do one side first, and I think we'll do the top 16 grand. By the way, we've got another grant that I should be able to get. What is it? No, going for extra grant. There we go. Got bank loan. For some reason it did the other one first. So I guess it's going to be this building up here. So foundation, then building brick, and then what I need to do is put in the shower. I've got to pause it for a second while I crack on with this building. Now obviously this is going to be a bit of a dot matrix sort of job here while I quickly sort of scan over this, and this becomes one. I remember in the previous alphas that was just not possible. Doing that, no, wasn't going to happen. Would never ever happen. This is not saying it needs an entrance, but I know that that is wrong. So what I'm going to do is put an entrance there, and then put on the back a staff door there, and then actually we'll put one there as well, because I know that we're going to need access to it. There we are, and then we'll unpause it and they can crack on. Excellente! So the way seasons work, a couple of people were a bit they were unsure about how it works, and to be fair, I didn't explain it because there was no real point at the time. There's still no point now, but I've got a bit of downtime while they're cracking on. The way seasons work is every 7 days it will move over, as far as I'm aware, and that might have been changed in the latest. I know there's been a couple of hot fixes since the video, so that might have changed, but as far as I'm aware, what happens is every 7 days it will move over to the other seasons. Every season has its overall ambient temperature, which obviously will fluctuate. It's not just a set temperature, but it can fluctuate and such, and will. And what will happen is you need to really worry about, in the summer that it could overheat, and prisons want places to go to stay cool, because you do get heat waves. And in the winter, obviously, it snows, which is not great for prisoner warmth. So that's something you really need to sort out, because you need boilers and such, which obviously this is a boiler here. I'm placing a boiler there, and then a water pump there. Boilers are a luxury, but something that I do want to place all over this prison. Now, whether or not that there will be enough to power, or at least provide hot water to the entire area, I do not know. We'll have to see how it goes. So let's go to electrical cable. Obviously, we need to connect up a couple of things. We'll put one electrical cable there and one there. The reason I'm doing that is because if I put a capacitor here, it means there's already one underneath it, and I don't have to place another electrical cable. Actually, in reality, because that's put that bit there, it will connect up that way. But that's all sorted now. There we are. So we've got hot water, we've got cold water. There's that sorted. So we can run the pipes when we need to, but that's not at the moment. What I really need to do is go to our rooms, and then to shower, and then designate all that as shower. I also need to go to materials, and then brick wall, and put in a brick wall on the side. I know people weren't overly keen on this because there's a bit like sort of one gap square thing there that doesn't really do anything. Well, the reason for this is if the water leaks, it can't leak diagonally, so this is actually a good idea doing it like this, because I can go to drain and put in drains like so. And it means that no matter where the water comes from, it can't leak past unless they damage the drains, which is obviously quite useful. Put some shower heads in. We only need to put a couple in for that to be designated as a shower, and I'll only put a couple in, as I said, just to sort that out. Okay, so grants should be done now. If we just go to our bureaucracy tab, we can see that is the case. Haven't yet got prison policy or security, but I think we'll go for... probably unlock maintenance and security because they're only 500 each and we do need to get there and it takes quite a while. We'll go to reports and then we'll check. We've got a short-term investment on the go. We've got a basic detention centre grant, which as you can see, we are not too bad on. We haven't got a holding cell or 2 guards and cooks, but we can easily get that. Actually, no, we can't because of our bank balance. You see, it's quite low. What we'll do, we'll go for... probably inmate health and well-being, and that's going to give us 10 grand, enough to finish off our basic detention centre. So what I'm going to do is go to materials and then brick wall, because we know that this bit here is going to be brick wall like so. Alright, now even though I'm not placing these, it means that this will then become indoors and it will give me enough leeway. So actually no, what will happen is this yard should then be classed as enclosed once this is put in and I put the large jail door in the front there. That then should make this enclosed, this yard. You can see it's minimum 5 by 5 and then that should, there we go, that is now an official yard. Excelente. We now need 2 guards, 2 cooks and a holding cell. Now the holding cell does need to be indoors, which sadly we haven't really got an indoors section at the moment free. So what I'm going to do, or rather, I haven't got the space over here where it's supposed to go. What I'm going to do is be a little bit cheeky and go to our rooms and then to holding cell. And it needs to be enclosed behind doors, which means if I do that, alright, it doesn't need to be this big, but you can see it is now classed as enclosed. If I do that, does it class it as enclosed? No, because you can see it's not surrounded by walls and doors. It does have to go to the edge. So that is now surrounded by walls and doors. Then we go to objects and then toilet, shove them in. And then we need to go to a bench and shove that in there as well. Now all that does is tick the government grant box to say, yes, we've technically got a holding cell at the time of completion. As soon as that's done, I will then get rid of it. Obviously, there's no way that's going to be all holding cell. But it does mean I can then go to staff and then hire 1 or 2 guards. And then go to cook and go to 1, 2. And there's that sorted. What I'll do is pause it for a second and just go to our regime and just go to free time and make sure all this is free time, because I know that they don't cook. The cooks do not do any cookings or heating up of porridge or whatever while it's still in construction if there's no prisons here. But just for, I think, just habit, force of habit, because they did at one point, I've sorted that out. 15 grand there in the bank, 15,868 generic credits or generic units of currency, whichever you prefer, which means that we have enough to really crack on. So let's go to our grants. We could go for a long-term investment, but that's going to give us, I think it costs us 5 grand from the outset, and then it's going to be a little bit more from there. Cell block A would be quite nice as well. I think I'm going to go for... I do need to get this inmate health and well-being sorted, which shouldn't be an overly difficult task, actually. It shouldn't be massively difficult. So, shall I get that put in now? It would be advantageous to get that sorted now, I think. Medical ward, blah, blah. Yes, that should be okay, and I think I can do it without spending 10 grand. So let's try this. So this is going to be the medical wing. So we'll designate all of that. We will put a standard door in. It's always a bit dodgy about putting doors. Oh, by the way, you can mouse over a part and it shows you where the worker is. So if you're wondering where they are, it then puts a little line saying, actually, they're over there. I'm always a bit hesitant to put in, well, any sort of door really when it comes to this infirmary, because it's a lot of stuff can be nicked from there. A lot of stuff can be stolen from there. And if you don't give them free access to it, it means that it's harder for them to come in and out, or you can see them wanting to go in and it sort of tips you off a little bit. If you do give them free access, they'll wander in, but it also means that it's easier for patients to come and go and you don't need a guard. So I don't really know where I stand on that. It's just a little bit dodgy. What I'm going to do is go to planning for a second, because I'm still not convinced that this is a good idea to put... I don't think it's a good idea to put the psychologist there. I think having that as a staff-only area is probably the way to go. So I need a 4x4 in here, which would be that. That would be our psychologist area if we did put it here. This is just for example. And then it means that our infirmary would have to really be... what we'll do is put this at the back, because it'll be a lot easier. If we just split that up 4x4... Actually... 4x4 would be that. No, it wouldn't. It'd be that. I did have it right. If we had an entrance there... Oh, actually... Oh, we could change it. Oh, what would be better, actually, is if we had... What would be better if the frame rate didn't go to crap every time it does an autosave, which I'm pretty sure I turned off in the saves, but in the options, but apparently not. We'll go to dismantle on this door, because I've got a better idea. If we have rooms and then office... office here. Have that as office. And then infirmary is this, which doesn't have a minimum size. And then a morgue again doesn't have a minimum size. Why is the frame rate absolute horse? Come on, there we go. It's back to normal. Right, so we'll remove that door. And then we'll put in another door. Oh, there. Which is actually in the centre. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's actually in the centre, so that's a bit better. And we'll put this in. And we want an entrance. Like that. Alright. So, a lot of these things saying they don't have medical beds and such, which I'm going to sort this out now. They don't have their room requirements. And morgue slab, which we can put in. It's really just to have the requirements there. Put a desk in the corner. This is our psychologist. And then a couple of chairs. There we go. Again, not sure whether or not one needs a chair in there. Like in all the videos, they have sofas in there. But I don't think you need it. I think it's just a chair is required. Let's go to staff. 2 doctors. Yes, it is 2 doctors and a psychologist. There we go. And there's that grant done. So that's 10 grand for the health and well-being. Prisoner health and well-being, I believe it is. Let's have a quick look. Inmate health and well-being. Close enough, close enough. Okay, so cell block A. Nice 20 grand there. That's nice. That is enough to... Hopefully, can we build this here? Oh, by the way, you'll note that it's gone a little bit saturated. Everything's a bit saturated. That's because it is spring, and I believe it's just saying it's a bit cold. I think that's why it is. But it has gone a bit saturated. Now, we have a little bit of an issue because heating throughout the entire prison is quite important now. Like, because you need radiators in places. But I don't think, fairly sure, that that water pipe there, that water boiler, will not be able to go all the way down to the end. I'm not totally convinced that it can. But we'll see. There you go, look, the colours come back. Excellent. Right, so, dismantle this toilet, dismantle this bench, go to rooms, get rid of all of that, because we do not need it. There we are. Obviously, we need to put another... a bit all the way around there. Oh, people have asked where the weight benches are going to be. The weight benches will probably be along this area here, and then this area here on this side, and then we'll have some standard benches along this side so people can sit. So that should hopefully do it. They're also asking what it's going to be. Is it going to be gravel? Is it going to be grass? That is to be confirmed. I do not yet know. Right, so short-term investment should be done in a little bit. Our long-term investment is going to be done at some point in many, many hours. What I need to do is get this cell block up and running, which for 33 grand shouldn't be actually too difficult. It just is a case of from here, pausing it, and then we need to drag all the way to this end, and then all the way to here. I've got auto light on, which I know it's weird because I've said a couple of times that I really wish there was an auto light or the ability to turn it on and off, and then they give you the ability to turn it off, and I found that actually I don't really care for it because it's more tedious to place the lights after the fact. What I'd like is an auto light ability, so you say utilities auto light click, and then that room would be auto lit, so it would calculate where the lights needed to go based on the layout of the rooms and the light distribution. That would be nice. Alas, don't think we'll see it. Right, so what else does we need to do? We need to raise our prison capacity to 15. That shouldn't be too much. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Just these ones here should be more than enough. Like I said, all we're really doing is getting the grant stuff done to give us more money. Enough for us to... What we need to do at the minimum is get the food hall and like kitchen all up and running, get the shower properly sorted, and this as well. You can see that everybody's shouting now that they can't get to places, and the reason for that is mainly because I've locked them in. I know a couple of people were not happy with me having only one entrance to this thing. They said we should have a one elsewhere. I agree, but also have to say, where else do you think I should put it? I don't think there's anywhere. So let us put in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put the beds at the back because I want the toilet as close to the center as possible, so they have to dig further in. So what we'll do is this. It'll be that, I believe. So go, and these will all be the same. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and then 16. That should be that sorted. So it's just doing L's like that. Okay, and then we need to go to rooms, and then to cells, and then designate all this as cell. Now, some of these are not all completed, but once they are sorted, it should then figure out that it is a separate cell, which it has not. Now it has. What I'm going to do, because it can be a little bit glitchy sometimes, it's really interesting to see how far the game has come. The amount of problems it used to have placing certain things was absolutely ludicrous. What I'll do, I'll place all these beds along here. Obviously, we're just going for the cell block A grant, which will give us 20 notes, and we should have enough money to finish it off, but only just, mind. I think it will be only just. Once you factor in the doors being quite expensive, but actually there's a short-term investment completed anyway, so that's okay. Right, there's all them, and they're going to crack on with that. I am not going to place these. Oh, it actually doesn't matter. I can place these doors all I want because they don't close while there's no prisoners in here. There we go. Right, I know. Oof. I had to pause for a second there because I saw that pop up, the prisoner thing, and I thought, oh my god, have I not turned off intake? But then I realised that no, it's just saying 0 prisoners of 1 maximum. Okay, we're fine. Everything's fine. Calm down, calm down. Right, so we got that grant done for the long-term investment. Staff well-being. Have 5 guards with assigned duties, without assigned duties. Ensure none of your staff are exhausted. Build a staff room. That's quite an easy one. Let's go for that, because it is a simple matter of going to foundation, building brick, and then clicking and putting this bit in. Oh, of course, I'm trying to put foundations over foundations. Brick wall. And it's this one here. There we go. People ask why we've got the door there. Why not? I guess. There's no reason why we can't have it there. So this is going to be our staff. I always find it useful to search in there. So that's another grant done, by the way. That was cell block A, I believe it was. So that's good. We're progressing on a lot faster than I thought. I actually thought, what's the problem? The problem that's going to really stop the series on the head is when I start forgetting things and messing it up, which I'm sure we'll get to that eventually. Don't worry, that will happen. But I thought after many months of not playing this, or at least not playing it at any regular interval, it would be really full of failure. Right, so prison maintenance, unlock maintenance and grounds cleaning, have a gardener, have foreman. You know what, that's fairly easy to do as well. So unlock cleaning through bureaucracy and groundskeeping, which is again fairly easy. So it's cleaning and groundskeeping like so. You can see that it does say required foreman, which is fine because all I need to do is go to rooms and then office, and then clicky draggy office, and then staff, foreman, bosh, job done. So that's that done. Then that's research, hire 2 janitors and 1 gardener, and then that would be another grant completerated. So we've currently got 3 grants on the go. Wait for funds. I need to have at least 5 guards without assigned duties to get another one. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. Bump. There's another grant done. I could fire some of these staff, but by the time you wait and get them in and consider that they only cost generally it's like a tenth of what it does per day to hire, then it actually means that unless you're going to fire them and then rehire them after 10 days, it's best just to keep it. 48,903 generic units of currency struck generic credits sitting sitting in the bank. We'll also go for probably cell block B, which gives us 58 grand plus a bit of change there, which is more than enough to continue building, and we will leave it there. Next episode, my plan is to get a fully functioning kitchen, canteen, shower, probably finish off this entire area here, start on the common room, which I have to point out people have said is too small. I am aware. I don't think we're going to be doing anything with that though, because I don't know where else we can put it. And then hopefully we'll get some electricity and water run, because at the moment everything's flashing, and that's not good. So, next episode, cracking on hopefully as much as we've been on this one, because we've made good progress. Don't think we'll get prisoners, but we will see, as always, how it goes. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.